fall holiday in the Great Lakes area as a fierce and early winter storm knocks out power and makes life miserable. Texaco officials tonight are fighting back on racist charges. A tape analysis shows an executive did not use the N-word. NBC News in Depth tonight, we begin a series of reports on stress, how doctors are measuring it to predict heart problems.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. It's been a long, cold, wet, and generally miserable weekend throughout the Great Lakes region, which was hit by a heavy, wet snowstorm well before winter begins. Up to 2.5 feet of snow fell in some areas of Ohio, Michigan, and upstate New York, knocking out power, snarling travel, and making everyone worry about a long winter. This is the scene tonight, a live picture of downtown Cleveland, almost nothing moving at this hour. NBC Jim Avila has more now.
64,000 Cleveland families are still without power tonight, the third day of this freak storm. Debbie Manders has been without electricity since the snow started to fall 2 days ago. There's 2 feet of fresh snow in her backyard, and this portable generator is her only source of power.
We're using the generator to power our furnace and our refrigerator, and we have a couple of the neighbors hooked up. It's been really cold.
It's called lake effect, wind-swept squalls off the Great Lakes that create large amounts of snow, knocking down trees, power lines, and this man's front porch.
The awning pulled right out of the brickwork on the front of the structure due to the weight of this heavy, wet snow.
The snow falling now was water in Lake Erie just a few minutes ago. It's thick and it's heavy, and the wires and the trees can't hold up its weight. The east side of Cleveland, closest to Lake Erie, is paralyzed. Schools are closed, roads made nearly impassable by fallen trees and power lines.
You put the gear up here.
In western Michigan, a foot of snow has fallen. In Grand Rapids, power was out for much of the day, and visibility near zero. All of this in only the second week of November.
I feel like moving south. My childhood days in Texas don't seem so bad in spite of the heat after all.
And it's not over yet. Another 10 inches is predicted overnight. Jim Avila, NBC News, Cleveland.
The other big story today all across the country, Veterans Day, honoring those who served their country, and parades with memorials, including the president's traditional wreath laying at the Tomb of the Unknown. In his speech, Mr. Clinton promised a thorough investigation into what's become known as the Gulf War Syndrome, health problems that have plagued Desert Storm veterans. And the vivid scenes of Vietnam remain with us 25 years after that war ended. A young Vietnamese whose image is seared in our memory appeared today at the Vietnam War Memorial. It was a very long journey. Here's NBC's Bob Paul.
It has been nearly 25 years, but some images will never be forgotten.
The napalm hit a group of civilians trying to flee from the fighting. These children had just gone through hell.
Kim Phúc was only 9 years old, terrified and screaming, as she fled what villagers called the fire which fell from heaven. 4 bombs and 4 drums of napalm dumped by South Vietnamese Air Force sky raiders on American orders. It was the most terrible sight correspondent Arthur Lord had ever seen.
The clothes were burned off. The skin was burned off. We weren't sure any of them were going to survive.
From the fireball which killed 2 of her brothers, Kim Phúc began a remarkable odyssey, treated and educated in Vietnam for 10 years, where she became a poster child against American imperialism, then more treatment and schooling in East Germany and Cuba, where she was also hailed as a martyr, before she fled once again, this time with her husband, to Canada, where, with her 11-month-old son, she now lives quietly among those she was taught to hate. Today, as she helped present a wreath at the Vietnam Memorial, her scars were not on display.
Now, I have a wonderful husband, a lovely child, and a happy family. Thank God.
We cannot change history, she said, but we can learn from it.
Dear friends, I should dream one day people all over the world can live in real peace.
Not only did she embrace one soldier who'd been a prisoner of war in Vietnam, she also managed to touch hundreds who listened.
It's nice that we're forgiven and she can forgive.
So this afternoon, as the bagpipes played in the sunshine, she tried to bring an end to suffering which for some will never end, and left us with a new image, not of a victim, but of forgiveness and hope. Bob Fall, NBC News, Washington.
Still ahead tonight, NBC News in Depth, beginning a special series on a subject that we are all very familiar with, subject to stress.
We have very stressful lives. We've got traffic jams, we've got mortgages, we've got problems, jobs, relationships, all of that.
Tonight, the biology of stress. What really happens to your body when life makes you want to explode? We'll have an in-depth report tonight. And later, putting 4-year-olds into the rodeo arena. Is this all in fun, or are these parents perilous?
Oh, honey, you're so young. I could never keep up with you.
But Mom says that's why you seem fat.
Ensure is complete balanced nutrition. #1 doctor recommended. As a meal or a snack, it helps you stay healthy, active, energetic.
I'm sure you'll marry someone even more fun than me.
Well, will you at least come to the wedding?
Sure. I'll be there.
Ensure, #1 doctor recommended. Drink to your health.
Choosing the right lenses can be confusing. At LensCrafters, we have these featherweight lenses. They're made of a thin, lightweight material, but they're also tough. Now watch this. People choose lightweight lenses for comfort, but when they're safer, I sleep better.
Available now, only at LensCrafters. Everybody loves... Introducing the Olive Garden's new Chicken Alfredo. Creamy fettuccine Alfredo, together with a grilled chicken breast, with unlimited salad and breadsticks. All just $7.95, only at the Olive Garden.
Learned straight from his daddy. Some days his shoulder gets so sore it would just about fall off. Well, he'd take 2 Tylenol, but hours later the pain would come back. He'd have to take more. He'd get frustrated, so our doctor suggested Aleve.
I can take just 2 Aleve all day. With Tylenol, I was taking up to 8.
So he tried Aleve. Keeps his pain away up to 12 hours. Helps more than you could fathom.
Don't get paid for doing nothing.
Aleve. All day strong, all day long.
Texaco, the big oil company, is feeling under siege as a result of charges of racism and widely publicized tape recordings of conversations between some top Texaco officials. Well, tonight, those tapes are getting a second look. Here's NBC's Pete Williams.
Faced with customer boycotts and a shareholder lawsuit, Texaco got a little help in its public relations battle. Texaco's own analysis of those tapes of company executives finds they did not use the N-word. Just last week, a transcript and tape released by lawyers suing Texaco showed an executive using the word.
I'm a little trouble with Hanukkah, and now we have Hanukkah.
But an audio consultant hired by an investigator working for Texaco says he used computers to clarify the tapes and finds a different result.
I'm a little trouble with Hanukkah, and now we have Hanukkah.
What does not remain on the record is the gross use of a terrible epithet that has universal reaction among people as being a terrible thing to say.
He says Texaco executives were accurately quoted elsewhere on the tapes, talking about workplace diversity.
Funny, all the black jelly beans seem to be going to the bottom of the bag.
The investigator says that's most likely a reference to a seminar by a diversity expert who talked about jelly beans in his presentation.
In some instances, I could see it as being a very benign use. In others, I could see it being a racial slur. It depends on the context.
But a lawyer for the black employees who accused Texaco of job discrimination says the issue is not which words were used.
They're laughing at the whole concept of diversity in African Americans and Jews. They refer to both in the context of something that they're still struggling with.
Texaco says again today the conversations caught on tape were unacceptable. Now lawyers for both sides are talking to see if they can settle the discrimination lawsuit. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
More problems for Texaco tonight. An explosion at a Texaco refinery outside of Los Angeles occurred miles away. It took 150 firefighters about an hour to contain the flames. No one was hurt, however. Wall Street continuing its post-election surge. The Dow was up almost 36 points to another record close in moderate trading. The Nasdaq was up as well. When we come back, NBC News in Depth tonight, our special series on stress with the question, what happens to your body when stress kicks in?
We're very fortunate to have such a wonderful family.
After his operation, his body was like twice the normal size. He was on this respirator for 3 weeks. It was kind of lonely around here.
I got Aflac through our company. The owner of the company felt that we should have it. It turned out fabulous.
Aflac Insurance helps fill the gaps other insurance doesn't cover, so you can get on with life.
Everything worked out wonderful.
Carrying a garment bag can be a real pain, literally. But thanks to Samsonite brands, now I can roll it and stow it.
The garment bag with wheels.
It's built to last and last.
Another innovation from the Samsonite family of Samsonite, Lark, and American Tourister.
I love you, Barbara. Thank you all so much. I love pleasing people. Obviously, so does Sunsweet. Plump, delicious orange essence pitted prunes that are incredibly pleasing. Sunsweet pitted prunes, always a sweet idea.
You've had a good life, come so far, but you're still going. That's just the way you are. It's so exciting, it's so inviting, it's making whoopee not right. There's so much room, another lovely afternoon. Don't need a reason, it's just a season for making whoopee.
The brand new DeVille for the time of your life.
Stress is everywhere, at work, at home, everywhere. It's the subject of our in-depth report tonight, beginning a series on what is one of the most common problems of modern life. But what does all of this anxiety actually do to us physically? According to the National Institutes of Mental Health, up to 70% of all doctors' visits can be traced to stress-related illnesses. NBC's chief science correspondent Robert Bazell tonight with a look at the biology of stress in depth.
Many of us feel our world is bombarding us with stress. But just what is stress? At its most basic level, it is the response to danger we humans share with most animals. What scientists call the fight or flight response. Either defend yourself or run away.
If you're 99% of the beasts on this planet, stress is 30 seconds of some screaming heart-in-your-throat crisis.
But of course, for people, stress is many other things, too.
We've got traffic jams, we've got mortgages, we've got problems, jobs, relationships, all of that.
In a stress response, parts of our brain release hormones, including adrenaline. These spark changes throughout the body. Heart rate quickens, blood pressure rises, and muscle strength increases, all enabling our body to perform at a higher level if we truly face danger.
The paradox of the stress hormone system is that, in fact, it keeps us alive. So these hormones, they're turned on when we need them, but we have to turn them off again when we don't need them. And the problem comes when we can't turn them off.
And when heavy traffic, screaming children, or anything else in our day-to-day lives keeps our stress hormones switched on, it can wreak havoc with our body, affecting the heart, the immune system, even the brain. At Duke University, researchers test 40-year-old Frank Dodson for his response to stressful situations. His blood pressure begins at a respectable level. Then they stress him.
Cut back on your mistakes. Try to stay within the lines.
Here, his blood pressure shoots up as he tries to trace a figure while looking in the mirror. Then a technician puts his foot into ice water.
Ready? Begin. This will last for about 2 minutes.
His blood pressure goes higher still when he tries to make a speech.
To involve medical personnel goes against the oath that healthcare professionals have taken.
Dr. James Blumenthal has found that people whose blood pressure and heart rate shoot up dramatically under stress are 3 times as likely to get heart disease within 5 years.
Again, providing further evidence that stress is something that one needs to be very concerned about and potentially do something about.
Stress can reduce the number of key white blood cells in the immune system that fight diseases. Brain damage is the most recent finding. Scientists found that in stressed rats, those continually dominated by other rats, a part of the brain actually shrinks, and the rats lose memory. This led researchers at Yale to look at MRI scans of people who had suffered severe stress. Vietnam veterans with post-traumatic shock syndrome, and people who had been victims of child abuse. The brain area, called the hippocampus, which controls several aspects of memory, shrinks in people who underwent these severe stresses.
And those changes are also accompanied by impairments in memory.
Even though we're all aware of stress, scientists are just beginning to understand all the ways it affects us. But they agree that stress is the most important aspect of how our minds influence our bodies, how our thoughts affect our physical well-being. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
And tonight on the Nightly News website, more on stress, an interactive demonstration where you can find out how stress affects different parts of your body. The address is nightlynews.msnbc.com. Tomorrow, stress and personality. What kind of person you are can have a big impact on how you can cope with all of this. When we come back in a moment, the country is dying while its leader is living in France in luxury.
Aren't there enough reasons in your life to talk to your doctor about Zocor? Call 1-800-MERC-75 for your free Zocor guide to healthy living. Zocor, be there.
I swear I love you. I swear if that guy doesn't stop coughing.
Robitussin cough drops relieve coughs and soothe your throat fast.
These really work.
First coughing, now talking. I can't go on.
Robitussin cough drops from the cough experts.
This November 21st, some people will stop smoking for a day, and some will stop smoking forever. Join millions of your fellow Americans and the American Cancer Society for the Great American Smokeout. Commit to quit. Need help? Now there are new ways to get help without a prescription. Ask your pharmacist.
What causes denture odor? Come close and we'll show you. Germs. Only Efferdent Plus has Listerine ingredients. It kills odor-causing germs, so you can get this close. Efferdent Plus with Listerine ingredients. Kill the germs, kill the odor.
Trusting the wrong diarrhea medicine can put you in a very uncomfortable position. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in one dose. You could end up taking dose after dose after dose of the pink stuff to stop diarrhea as effectively as Imodium AD. Don't take chances with diarrhea.
You should have taken Imodium AD.
Take Imodium AD.
Sorry.
One dose relief you can count on.
This congresswoman had it all and lost it, conned by her own husband.
He fooled a lot more people.
A story of betrayal and disgrace. An exclusive interview on NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
NBC Tuesday. Get this. Frasier's back with an all-new episode, and you won't believe what it's about.
You wouldn't. I would. You can't. I will.
All-new Frasier, NBC Tuesday.
Tonight we go back to that disaster that is growing by the day in Central Africa. In Zaire, thousands of people still are in imminent danger of starvation and in danger, of course, from the ethnic fighting that threatens to erupt again at any time. NBC's Ron Allen again tonight in Zaire.
More innocent civilians caught in the fighting that has caused a crisis in eastern Zaire. And yet again today, the doctors at Goma's Virunga Hospital barely had any medicine. This little boy picked up a grenade that exploded. This little girl was at home when a shell came through the roof. Finally today, a little help. The first relief supplies were allowed to cross from Rwanda into Zaire. Just a few small vehicles with blankets, food, and medicine.
Everybody acknowledges that it's not the ideal scenario, but it's the best chance we've been offered to get access to the refugees.
The Zairean rebels who control this part of the country now say they'll let more relief supplies in. But there is little evidence the massive operation that's needed is about to begin. The small amount of aid that arrived today is only going to help people here in towns close to the border. No one has yet come up with a plan to get help to refugees hundreds of miles from here in even worse conditions. These are the camps thousands of refugees used to call home. They fled deeper into Zaire, leaving their dead behind. Only a small number of the refugees are making their way back towards Rwanda, which wants them to come home. Many of the rest are being held hostage by armed militants opposed to the Rwandan government.
It's quite difficult to try and pursue these people. Security is a problem.
Aid workers aren't even sure if they'll be able to go back into Goma tomorrow. And though some medicine arrived today, by late this afternoon, there was still no sign any of it had reached Virunga Hospital. Ron Allen, NBC News, Goma, Zaire.
While the suffering grows in Zaire, the man whose iron hand has ruled that country for decades is thousands of miles away, living the good life, thanks in large part to years of support from the American government. More on that now from NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
While Zaire falls apart and its people starve, its dictator, Mobutu Sese Seko, convalesces from cancer treatments in his chateau on the French Riviera, with plenty of servants to polish his toys. Intelligence sources say Mobutu looted his country's gold and diamond mines and is now worth billions, most of it in Swiss banks. Ever since the CIA helped install him in the 60s to offset Soviet influence in Africa, Mobutu has been used by Democratic and Republican presidents.
It is a special privilege for me to welcome you today.
In the Reagan years, he let the CIA use Zaire to launch a secret war against communists in neighboring Angola. The U.S. gave him more than $1 billion in aid and helped him get millions in World Bank loans, ignoring Mobutu's corruption because he was helping U.S. policy.
We have been avoiding the big decisions and looking, I think, a bit for the quick fix in recent years. And now it's come back to haunt us.
Mobutu has always had strong conservative support inside Congress and out. Look closely. That man with Mobutu is Christian Coalition founder Pat Robertson, who invested in Zaire's diamond mines. A spokesman for Robertson told NBC News today Robertson got out of his Zaire diamond business in 1995. But that was years after the first criticism of atrocities under Mobutu's rule.
I don't think it's possible to separate Mobutu from the abuses perpetrated in his name for so many years.
The most recent State Department report on Zaire says prisoners were tortured, beaten to death, deprived of food and water. But today, a senior official told NBC News Mobutu is not as bad as other bloodthirsty dictators in that part of the world. That's because the U.S. fears Zaire would be even more out of control without its strongman. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
Now to NBC News Online. What else we're talking about tonight? The National Vietnam Veterans Art Museum, located in Chicago. It is a collection of 600 works of art, all by Vietnam veterans, men, women, from all racial groups. One of its founders, Ned Broderick, is also one of the artists. He says the work depicts each vet's personal experience during the war, and it sends a very powerful message.
We want to have people come here and understand the sacrifices that men and women have made for their country.
For more than 15 years, the veterans' art could not find a home. Then the mayor of Chicago, Richie Daley, offered the artists an abandoned building that is now their museum. When we come back, bull riding for little cowboys, but some think this kind of fun is anything but child's play.
Yeah, he's going.
I can't stop coughing. I can't breathe. Fever. How am I ever going to get better if I can't sleep?
Introducing a powerful caplet just for the intensity of the night flu. Nothing but maximum strength Theraflu medicines for relief of all your worst night flu symptoms. Put all your night flu symptoms to rest with new Theraflu maximum strength nighttime caplets.
When this happens at 7:30 on a Saturday night, it's a disaster. Day or night, 7 days a week, we never charge overtime. Full-time, full-service plumbing. Mr. Bruder.
Is on my side. Yes, it is.
People today are living longer and healthier lives. And at Nature Made, we like to think we've been a part of it. As the makers of vitamin and mineral supplements that are recommended by pharmacists more than 1,000 times a day. Nature Made, recommended by pharmacists, made for a lifetime.
Arthritis pain, it's a part of my life. So I keep Advil close by.
You see, it stops minor arthritis pain where it starts. Nothing's proven to work better or last longer than Advil. Nothing.
Advanced medicine for pain.
The engineers at the Pontiac Grand Am designed cars for people who get a kick out of driving, complete with a powertrain built to precise aerospace tolerances. And that's kept more Grand Ams tearing along even after 11 years than any car in its class. So buy a Grand Am for a good time. Have it around for a good long time. Grand Am. Built for kicks, built for keeps. Starting around 15.2.
Dateline Tuesday, E. coli. It can make you sick or even kill you. Guess where it's turning up now? In something your kids may be drinking every day. Dateline Tuesday.
The American West may be changing as a result of television satellites and four-wheel drives and cell phones, but there remain enduring traditions that have nothing to do with technology. Rodeos, for example, where it remains cowboy against the bull or the bucking bronco or the runaway steer, nothing in between. This is a world for grown-ups, and that's just the point. Here's NBC's Jim Cummins.
David Wilstrop is a 50-pound, 6-year-old cowboy who can't even mount a practice bull by himself. But he's a regular competitor on the Pee Wee Rodeo circuit in Texas, Little David to his fans.
Turn around, cowboy.
And he's at the center of a growing controversy about parents putting their kids in harm's way. His dad, Jeff Wilstrop, insists it was David's idea to ride bulls.
He saw adults doing it, and he wanted to do it, so we searched out in the arena.
David wears a helmet and a protective vest before each ride. David's first ride this night was his last because the calf threw him in 3 seconds and David landed on his head, obviously injured. A slow-motion replay shows David landing hard on the front of his head and the calf's hoof narrowly missing the side of his head. Even his dad conceded that.
If he probably wouldn't have had a helmet on, it might have taken off an ear.
Seems dazed right there.
That's what alarms people like Gabe Cantanilla, a former judge who is part of a growing movement to get small kids out of rodeo competition.
That's like letting your child go out and play on a freeway. We don't allow children to make decisions like that. That's why they have parents.
It's good competitive events, and it gives the child a feeling of self-esteem, confidence.
Others would disagree. They say every time Wilstrop allows his 6-year-old son to ride a wild animal, he's breaking the law by placing a child in imminent danger. That's a felony here in Texas. It could result in a prison sentence up to 20 years. In fact, a sheriff's deputy in San Antonio threatened to arrest Wilstrop for endangering his son. So now the 6-year-old competes wherever his dad won't be arrested.
You gonna ride again tonight? You gonna call it a night? Huh? You're not gonna ride again tonight? Okay. That's okay, bud.
It was a tough fall for little David and a growing problem for a sport that allows small children into an arena that many people feel should be a place only for adults. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Dallas.
That's Nightly News for this Monday. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Watching the NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. NBC News, now more than ever.
Katie Couric with Barbara Streisand.
I can't imagine growing up and never have your mom telling you that she loved you.
It's made me who I am.
Tomorrow on Today.
Tonight, the world's deadliest virus races toward America.
You must change course. Attack aircraft is waiting to shoot you down.
What the hell was that?
Those people are going to die. The future of the world below will come down to one final second.
Don't do this!
The explosive conclusion of Pandora's Clock. NBC tonight.